hello from the Philippines. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I have kind of prepared for this talk with creators and aspiring creators in mind. So if you're not a creator right now, then maybe you will be in the future, maybe sometime, somewhere along the road you decide to be. But today I want to share with you guys my journey so far, how it has been. Hopefully it will inspire your journeys as well. So you guys could be creating for yourself as an individual. You could be a creator for a certain brand or a certain organization. So I hope that you guys can take away something valuable. My goal here is to encourage you guys to create, to encourage you guys to go through this journey, because this is something that will add a lot of value to and inspire different people. So without further ado, let me get started. So today I want to help you guys. I want to tell you guys about my journey, as I've said. And so I want to begin with this. So my journey actually started with kind of an itch to create. And how did that happen? It happened when I attended an all-women centered leadership workshop for personal discovery and mastery last year in August. And I attended this event with 200 other wonderful women from all over Asia, and they were so inspiring. The environment was amazing because the room was filled with brilliant and bright and very self-driven women leaders all over the world. And we attended this workshop together. We discovered our strengths, our passions. We did some kind of vision casting wherein we looked into our future and we decided, or we thought of what we wanted to do about our lives, and we shared that with each other. So after the event, it really got me so inspired that I felt like sharing a bit about what I learned from that program. So I took a video and I just started talking about having confidence by having a deeper sense of self. It was just a 3-minute video, and it was kind of like a brain fart of everything that really stirred within me during that event, kind of sharing what I had in mind about it for a long time. And I posted it on Instagram. And I did not expect that it would do quite well, as in people would send me a DM, people would comment on that post saying that, Hannah, thank you so much for sharing this because I really needed to hear it. I realized that I've been lacking this self-awareness for a long time, and I really learned a lot from that short video of yours. And so I was actually quite taken aback. Like I was shocked. I didn't realize how valuable that would have been for somebody else, because I was always an introspective person. I loved to reflect. And so it was quite a natural thing to me, but apparently it's something that not a lot of people realize up until that point when I shared it. So it was amazing. And I thought of creating more through that. So it could be the same for you guys. You might have a certain itch to say something, to share something. You could be passionate about something for the longest time that you would never expect people would find really cool and people would actually want to learn. So it usually is about responding to that call. Could be an itch. It could also be an encouragement from somebody to create something. So it usually starts that way. And then it usually happens when you listen to yourself during your very honest moments. And these are the moments when, for me, these are the moments when I have a lot of time to reflect. And this is usually like after midnight for me. It's a very creative time where, you know, thoughts just flow and connect randomly. And aside from after midnight, it could be whenever I'm traveling alone, because there's just so much inspiration everywhere, that I feel like there's so many thoughts and wonderful realizations coming into my mind. And another source of that is also whenever I journal, whenever I freehand journal and just write everything that is on my mind and keep going and going. And for some reason, I'm able to unpack a lot of insights about even the most mundane experiences. So you can actually use these moments. There are actually practices that you can do to induce like imagination and ideas. And those are some of them. So I encourage you guys to listen to yourself during those honest moments and think about, think about your experiences. And from those experiences, you can also ask yourself how you can add value to people's growth, because that's how I've been doing it so far. Like whenever I have any realizations, like I said, whenever I write stuff down, I also kind of filter it through thinking about how can my experiences be useful for other people? Like, what are some of the very practical takeaways that I can share with others? You know, and I encourage you guys to be very honest with this, because I believe that in being very honest in writing and sharing, and the mindset is simply about sharing to other people, right? If you're really honest, then people will actually resonate with you, and people will actually feel a certain connection. That depth within you connects with the depth within them. And so you can add value by thinking of it that way. Because I've, after that first Instagram video that I took, I also wrote about other things that can worry people and can make people anxious, such as failure or rejection, or sometimes feeling jealous or envious of other people. I've talked about them in other posts too. And I feel like those are the moments when, when I express or show my vulnerability, those are the moments that people can really relate and that people can really learn from too, especially if I share the great things that I realized after that experience. So that's one way to be able to inspire others, right? So, after I have, after you have, after you have asked yourself how you can add value to other people, the next step would be to find a safe space for you to express yourself. For me, it was Instagram initially, because I felt like, I don't know, it was just a more intimate space. And I feel like people are more friendly, warm, and welcoming there. And I feel like people are more engaging there as well. So I just started with Instagram at first. Like I would never think of posting it on Facebook for some reason, because my family is there or something. But then I started on Instagram, and then I eventually, when I gained some traction there, I felt like maybe I can try to get it to reach a wider audience. And so that's when I posted it on Instagram as well. And I was able to really reach out to a lot of people there too. So for you guys, find a safe space to express yourself. It could be on a platform, but it could also be in just a group chat. It could be just your circle of influence, your sphere of influence. It doesn't even need to be on social media or online. The point is for you to have a place for you to express and to share and to create freely, and feeling safe and feeling that you will be heard. So, also think about how you want to express yourself. Do you want to write more? Are you more of a speaker? Or are you more of a visual artist? You want to express yourself that way. The point is to get your work out there, right? Find a safe space at the beginning. And I think a very important mindset to have as you create is to keep only one person in your mind, or even just remember that one person should be enough to keep you going, to keep you creating, and to keep you sharing. Why? Because it matters that you are personal to someone. It matters that you can relate to even just one person. Because I've done this before, wherein after I post something, somebody would send me a message or ask me a question or leave a wonderful insight that I get so inspired. Hannah, your post made me feel this way, or this had been what I've been experiencing all along, and I learned so much because so and so. And what I did was it was more of just a response to what they said to me. It was more of just, okay, so I want to create for this person this time, and I want to give encouragement to this person. That's why I'm writing this down. And so having just one focal point is really helpful, because sometimes we pressure ourselves, or we get so worried when we don't get a lot of likes, or we don't get a lot of engagement. As creators, it may be a source of anxiety for us. But for me, in my mind, it's always just about making impact to one person. And for me, that's quite enough. So if you guys are creating, especially at the beginning, it doesn't matter. You're just going to have to keep creating and creating, and having just one person in mind is a great way to sustain your momentum, right? So after that, you can just let go, just let go and create. After that first time that I made that video, I created one more and then another one after that. And aside from videos, I also created Instagram carousels. I've also written, like posted in written form. I would write captions on Facebook and lots of different pieces, just experimenting and just having fun with the content that I'm making. And I know that sometimes there may be limiting beliefs that keep us from creating more and more, because again, we get discouraged if we don't get a lot of engagement, or sometimes there is self-doubt that maybe I'm not the right person to share about these things, right? But if you ever have those thoughts, if you're a creator right now, and if you ever have those thoughts, then I want to encourage you with two reasons why you should still keep going. The first is because your story is unique. So the treatment of a similar topic may be different for you than from another person, because you have a completely different set of experiences, different set of insights, and a totally different perspective that you can bring into the table, which is very different from that other person's. So no two people will say the same things in exactly the same way, right? So the second thing is also that you have different circles. So you have different spheres of influence. You have different communities. So that person, sure, that person might be saying this thing about this topic, or is really well known to be to talk about, let's say, personal finance or personal growth in the US or in Canada or elsewhere, but I'm here, I'm in the Philippines, and I know the cultural context here, and I can speak to people in my circles. So again, it's totally different as well. So, if ever you had those thoughts that are limiting you, don't let them limit you, because those are reasons for you to keep going, right? So when you have already started creating and you've gotten some momentum, perhaps you can follow the breadcrumbs. And what do I mean by that? It's more of searching for patterns, or maybe like, for example, you try to look at your previous posts and see which ones are popular with people, which ones people engage with more, because a lot more people can relate to that. And so those are clues into what kind of content you can create even more for you to make more impact, to make impact in more people's lives, right? You follow the breadcrumbs. What are the reactions? What are people suggesting to you? It's really important that you engage and interact with your audience, because you get feedback for you to have an idea on what to write next, right? It could be like, for example, I have this popular post on money management. So if I have that popular post, what is a reasonable next thing to do? Maybe you can write about investing. What are people asking? Maybe you can write about like more tips on how to use your credit cards well. So things like that, like one thing can lead to another, and it's all about asking yourself what naturally follows. Okay? Don't pressure yourself too much into creating a certain clean way. At the beginning, it's going to be wonderful if you just experiment and see what you enjoy doing and see what other people like reading, right? That makes it all the more fun for both sides, right? So after that, try to explore other spaces as well. So a while ago, I mentioned that I started on Instagram, right? But I also explored, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook sometimes. I tried to create a Facebook page too. I also explored TikTok and YouTube. One content that you create in one platform can be repurposed elsewhere, because think about the impact that you can create if you reach out to more people, right? Not everybody is on just Facebook or just on Instagram, right? You can try different mediums and then try to discover for yourself where you enjoy creating too, right? And for me, it was, well, of course, it's not helpful for you to stretch yourself too much either by creating in so many places at once. Like I also got burned out when I tried doing that myself. I think about 2 to 3 platforms at the beginning, when you are alone, I think will be enough if you plan to generate content more consistently. Because I personally tried creating YouTube videos. And to be honest, like I did not enjoy it that much because it took me 4 times more time to edit the video than to actually speak in front of the camera. So I didn't really enjoy the post-production that much. So I thought, well, okay, maybe YouTube can be a thing, but maybe further along the road, because I just like to talk and I just like to write sometimes. And so I decided to settle on Medium because I recently had been exploring this platform and I've been enjoying just writing so much, because that's really my first love. Writing more than anything, more than making videos and talking, it's really writing. So you have to ask yourself what you enjoy doing first, and then you pick the platform to create on. But then of course, don't zero out or don't dismiss any other platform, because then you might find a really good audience there, right? So explore other spaces. And aside from that, also initiate FaceTime. In what way? Well, something similar to what I'm doing right now, making FaceTime or meeting with your audience and sharing more about your craft to other people. For me, I organize workshops and online classes. I've attended talks such as this one, and I'm so very blessed that I had been asked to speak to you guys this evening. I enjoy doing these things so much. And aside from that, I've also reached out to different people to have one-on-one conversations with them and to ask more about their journeys as well, you know? So initiate FaceTime, meet with other creators as well, meet with your audience. I think it's going to be really helpful and encouraging for your journey, and just trying to build a community. My friend and I are collaborating because we're both into creating personal growth content, and we're actually collaborating on an event as well, kind of a workshop too for our following. So I think it will really be a wonderful next step to take it further, right? So initiating FaceTime, and then I guess the next thing I want to share with you is that when you're ready to scale and when you are ready to take your content a little more seriously, then it is time for you to strategize. Like, for example, you don't want this to just be a part-time job, or maybe if you want this to be a part-time job, you want to start earning income from it. And for other people, you want to just be creating full-time. And I know of a lot of full-time content creators who are creating for different platforms and are earning really well, actually, because it's such a good time to create. There's so many opportunities income-wise, and so if you want to do that, then it's time for you to sit down and really assess, decide, and plan, right? It could possibly, another direction would be for you to create a content organization, something like a blog, like TechSathi, right? You can also do something like that. It could be a nonprofit, it could be a startup, with whatever it is that you're creating with. But the point is to set direction. So when I say assess, decide, and plan, let me go through them one by one. So you want to assess the content that you've been creating so far. You want to analyze, you want to look at your numbers, read the data, and see what is doing very well, what your audience engages with. And you also want to think about and look back, is this ROI worth enough effort, the effort that I'm putting into this? So trying to look at it from a more business point of view, right? And then deciding what you want to do moving forward. Perhaps 1 year from now, do I want to be earning money from this? Do I want this organization to have its own volunteers? And do we want to reach out to more people? Deciding where you want to go is a very important part in the process as well. So once you have that clear, you want to plan, right? So how will you plan and set a direction? Here are three. Plan or think of your content creation as a business, and this is something I believe that Shweta can really help you guys with, because I know that she is an expert on this. But you think of it as a business. So how do you do that? Of course, every business needs a vision. Every business needs a mission, and also milestones and goals that you want to put in place, right? To know that you are moving forward. And
hi Hannah. Can I ask you something? Have you
Yes.
been moving your slides?
Yes, I have. I'm so sorry.
It's not appearing in our screen, so I just want to be.
Oh no, is it here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can see that now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so where was I? Yes. So goals, it's important to set goals as well, because that's where you will be working toward, right? So after you already have your goals in place, you want to plan and to create strategies around them. So things to consider would be where you want to create content. And I think an exercise for you to do that, sometimes it gets confusing. Where exactly do I want to create? Oh, sorry, before asking where, you also want to ask what you want to create in the beginning. So you take out a sheet of paper and then you fold it in half. You've got your left and your right side. And on the left side, you write down the top 5 things or the top 5 topics that you enjoy writing about or creating about, right? And then on the right side, you can put down the top 5 topics that are most popular on your platforms. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to try to match what's on the left side and what's on the right. So you can probably realize that your top 2 on the left side are not on your right side list. Perhaps your number 3 would be perhaps number 1, the number 1 most popular thing. So with that, you already more or less have an idea what your strategies should be, because you, apart from wanting to enjoy creating, you also want to be sure that there's an audience for it and there's income potential for it, right? So you match those 2 things, and probably that's where you can begin. And as with where to create, you can do the same thing. Just get a sheet of paper, fold it in half, and on the left side, you've got the places that you like to create in, and on the right side is where your audience is. It's important to know where your audience is. So you got to do a bit of research. You can, look at their demographics, you look at their behavior, you look at their psychographics. That's where market research comes in, right? So you create strategies for that after you've done that research, and then you also create projects based on those strategies. So for example, by the end of this year, I want to earn this much as a creator, right? So for me to do that, I want to be creating X number of videos, let's say on YouTube, because more or less this might take me to about this income goal, and so and so. And so if I have to create X number of videos this year, then I ought to break it down to per month, and then to per week, and then to per day, right? So that's kind of the more detailed planning approach. So and then after that, you plot it into a timeline, then you've got a content calendar ready, right? So this step is going to be really, really important if you want to take your content creation seriously. But for those who aren't, then you can just care about the first few steps and just enjoy creating first before you even think about this one. I actually did my planning earlier this year because I felt like, I wanted to take this to the next level. And so I planned to start Own Bloom. That was one thing. I created a website for Own Bloom earlier this, I think February, and I launched it early on, but that is kind of on hold right now because I decided to kind of shift gears and take writing a little more seriously on Medium first. So, you can plan all you want, but sometimes life happens, you discover new things, and you just want to follow your heart, right? So that said, it's still important to plan, right? So next would be I think the hardest part and the most important part would be to show up every single day. So once you already have a plan ready, it's time for you to execute that. So you have to show up and you have to do it every single day. For me, I have been able to carve or create a routine that works very well for me, wherein I create every single day from Monday to Sunday and I don't stop, because I'm able to think of something that is sustainable for me. So for me, I write often in the morning and at night. And for you guys, it could just be, 3 days a week. For some of you, it could be one whole day wherein you do nothing but just write whatever it is. Make sure that it is sustainable for you, right? Because that will get you guys to show up every single day. Most important and very important to this is to create a system around it, to create very sustainable habits with it. So yeah, show up. It's the most important part, right? So summarizing everything that I have just shared with you, this is what the creator's journey looked like, at least from my point of view. First, you respond to a call to create, right? It feels natural within you, and then you express it in a safe space. You look for a place where you can, where you can share what you know and whatever it is that you want to share. And then you start to engage in that creative flow by creating more and more and more content, exploring different types of content and just following the breadcrumbs, and then building your own community by initiating FaceTime with other people, meeting with other creators as well, learning from each other, because that makes it all the more rich. Then when you want to take it a little more seriously, you can assess everything, and then you begin to plan. You begin to plan and to take your content creation, one step further, and then you commit. You show up every single day, and you start thinking of it as, part of your routine already. So one thing that I want to leave you guys with, whether or not you are creating or posting stuff online right now, is that each one of us has something valuable to share. So I want to spark that within you, because right now you may not be thinking of writing, or you may not be thinking of sharing. And again, you don't need to do this on social media, but you can very well inspire people, even if you don't post on Instagram. You could just be like sharing to your community, your team, your family, your group of friends, whatever it is. You have something valuable to share. So I hope that you think about ways wherein you can be a vessel, whether you are just one, you're being a vessel to just one person. You could be a mentor, you could be a friend, but you can also be somebody who makes viral content and share it to about 1,000, 100,000 people, like Shweta, right? So content is just a means to an end. So always have that in mind, keep that mindset, and never, ever let go of that when you create, because that will really keep you going, right? So with that said, thank you so much. That's the end of my talk. I hope that we can connect, and I hope that I was able to share something valuable to all of you, spark something in you, whatever it is. Do let me know, give me feedback, connect with me. I would love to meet with all of you and answer your questions.